Hi, good evening, everyone. We are waiting for few more attendees to join us and we will begin shortly. Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. We are waiting for few more attendees to join us and we will begin shortly. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I welcome you all to Decode Cybersecurity webinar organized by WICCI, Delhi Public Safety and Security Council in collaboration with GirlUP Wins. I'm Anshika, and I'm the moderator for today's session. We have Gunjan with us today, our expert for this session to conduct Decode Cybersecurity program. She has been in the infosec industry for more than 5 years and she's passionate about helping people and spreading awareness about cybersecurity. WICCI. WICCI is Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, a premier national business chamber for women in India, envisioning global impact for women. WICCI drives fundamental changes in governmental policies, laws, with a view to encourage and empower women in business, industry, and commerce across all sectors. WICCI Delhi Public Safety and Security Council is a group of women who are passionate about providing safe environment to children and women. We aim to strengthen the mindsets with the right knowledge and solidify safety at schools, colleges, and workplaces. The prime focus of our council is to enhance the physical, emotional, and sexual safety of children and women in India. We would like to welcome our outreach partner GirlUP Wings, a Delhi-based youth-led volunteer club under GirlUP, an initiative by the United Nations Foundation, led by a community of 30 plus passionate students from all over Delhi, raising awareness and funds. Their efforts help girls living in places where it is hardest to be a girl. Now, I would like to welcome Mansi Gupta, President of GirlUP Wings, to share a few words with us.
Hi everyone, I hope I'm audible. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to start by thanking WICCI, Delhi Safety Council, Shikha ma'am and Gunjan ma'am for giving us this opportunity to host this webinar with them. I am Manasi, I'm from GirlUP Wings, and we work for an equal and more inclusive society. Now, you may think, why cybersecurity? Well, it's as simple as we live in a digital age, and the moment we make an account online, we expose ourselves to certain dangers like contact with undesirable people, cyberbullies, and a lot more. So, to shed light on some overlooked dangers like these, we thought of hosting this session, and I'm sure all of us are going to learn a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansi. Please note that the content and design of this webinar is the property of WICCI Delhi Safety and Security Council. Any unauthorized copy or printing of this content without the permission of WICCI will attract legal action. Though all efforts have been made to ensure the accuracy of the content in this training, the same should not be interpreted as statement of law or used for any legal purposes. Now let's begin this training. We will be sharing some very interesting information about cybersecurity, which will be thought-provoking and very knowledgeable. So for next an hour or so, please stay with us. And please use the chat box for asking your question to the expert after the session. We have kept last few minutes for Q&A. In today's ever-expanding digital era, making sure that we are safe online has gained paramount importance in our lives. From the perspective of gender, cybercrime against women has become very common and it leaves most of us vulnerable to many security threats, such as stalking or blackmailing, using sensitive information. And it is all the more important for every user to understand the risk associated with transactions in cyberspace, implication of data leaks and privacy breaches through social media or email transaction. And its remedies are very important and should be taken care of with utmost priority. The Decode Cybersecurity will enlighten you all about cybercrime consequences with examples and methods of prevention. So make the most of this session. I request Gunjan to take over from here and start today's session. Over to you, Gunjan.
Thank you for such warm welcome, Anshika. I thank WICCI and GirlUP for organizing this event. And a big thanks to the lovely audience for taking out time for the session. Let me quickly share my screen. Anshika, please give me a confirmation once you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So today's session will be about risk associated with people. What are the various tactics and techniques used by hackers nowadays to trick people, followed by a couple of very important tips around best cyber hygiene practices. So let's get started. Before we go further into the session, it is very important to understand why people risk is important. Why infosec awareness training is very necessary. If we compare the usage of internet 10 years back to what it is today, we would find that earlier it was predominantly used for entertainment like watching movies, playing games, or general communication purpose. We were using platforms like Orkut. But nowadays, especially from last 5 years, what we have observed is in most of the activities that we do online, there is an involvement of a finance factor, either directly or indirectly. When I say directly, it is about a hacker getting access to your bank account and stealing money from that. While in indirect manner, it could be a hacker getting access to your personally identifiable information or PII, which could be your username, your password, your credit card numbers, so on and so forth, and selling it online on places like deep and dark web and converting it into cash. The other way is the is more dangerous, wherein if somebody is able to buy your information from these places like deep and dark web, they can do an identity theft on your behalf. Hackers prey on human psychological flaws, targeting them as weakest link in the cyber chain. Everything we use today is smart TV, smartphones, and whatnot. So in today's turbocharged world, our quest for cognitive efficiency makes us particularly vulnerable. To establish more context here, let me share a very interesting case study with all of you today. So this is about a SIM swap fraud that happened in Bangalore. Out here, what happened was the culprit obtained a new 4G SIM for a victim's cell phone number by impersonating him either at an outlet of the SIM service provider or online. And how did he do that? Is using the 4G SIM swap page on the service provider's website. Right now, the moment he uses this feature, there is a new 4G SIM that is assigned for the same number, and it is delivered to the hacker's address. What then happens is the culprit called the victims, claiming to be an executive from the service provider, and sends the 20-digit number which is printed on the new 4G SIM that got delivered to him. And he convinces the user to activate this new SIM through SMS. Now the user gets tricked and he activates it. Once the 3G, once he activates, the 3G SIM on his phone stops working, and at the same time the 4G one on the fraudster's cell phone becomes active. Now the cyber criminal can use it to receive OTPs for carrying out malicious transaction from the victim's bank account. This is shocking, right? Let's talk little more generic and massive attacks. So out here on the screen, you could see some of the news clippings of hackers hacking smart appliances. As I said, whatever we are using today, be it your laptops, your smartphones, your smart refrigerators, smart TVs, every single damn thing is smart. So what do you think is the basic prerequisite as a user for us, right? It is of course, to be smart at least, right? So on one hand, we have technology, which is getting smarter and smarter. And on the other hand is the user. So one thing is for sure that we have to be smart. Additionally, we also have to be smarter from these cyber criminals so that we can make an effective use of all these devices. So here are the top 3 things that we shall be discussing in detail in today's session. And I think this is something all of us should know. And I hope you have all the learnings. And I would request all of you to share the learnings with your friends, families, and colleagues also. So first, we'll be talking about email and online account security. What kind of emails you get? How can you identify whether the email is a legitimate one or one sent by the hacker? Right. The second would be, how can you identify phishing attacks on your online accounts? And last but not the least is to understand what is social engineering, what art and techniques the criminal nowadays are using to trick user so that they can get their personal information. So let's start with the first one, that is email and online accounts. I would like to explain this using a scenario. So out here, this is an email which HDFC Bank users would normally get whenever they carry out a transaction. So this says that, dear customer, there is a transaction happened for your account for 2,000 bucks. And if you want to know more about this transaction, here is a button that is given for my reference. Okay, now what happens if I click this button? Let's see. Okay, I am redirected to the net banking page. Fair enough. I will have to log into the net banking account in order to know more about the transaction, who did the transaction, what is the location, what was this transaction all about, so on and so forth. So what I'll do, I'll input my username and password. Now let's see a similar scenario for our social media accounts. Recently, we have seen that there was a phishing attack on Instagram happened, included for Isha Deol's account, wherein she received an email from Instagram saying that one of the posts on her account has some copyright violation issue, and if she thinks that's not correct, she has to report it, and the message has a link embedded which she can refer to report. If she fails to report, her account would be blocked in 24 hours. So in these two cases, if you observe carefully, what is the one thing that the hacker or the criminal is trying to take advantage of? It is the emotional aspect, which is the fear of the user, right? The first one is, there is some transaction that happened from your account which you are not aware about. Now if I suddenly get an email like that, I would be worried, and I'll immediately, without thinking for another second, I'll immediately click on the link to more about the transaction. Similarly, out here, the attacker is trying to scare the user that if you do not click on this link to report that this is a misunderstanding, your account would be blocked, so that the user get panicked and immediately click on the link. All that is happening is on the front end. Now let's see what happens at the back end. On the screen, if you can see, because this was a phishing attack done by a hacker, at the backend he is having an access wherein he is able to see all the credentials that we are providing, which is your username and your password. So now the question comes, how can I make sure that I am able to identify whether the email or the message that I am getting is an authentic one or a malicious one? Whether the URL that this email it is asking me to redirect to is genuine or not. Let's understand that in detail. So here are some ways by which you can identify whether it is a malicious email or not. So the first one is to carefully observe the domain. Out here you can see that this looks a legitimate domain, but most of the time what these attackers now are able to do is they are able to fake the legitimate email of the organization as well. In that case, what you can do is, most of the time you will find there is a red color button with an exclamation mark or a question mark or a security sign which is visible here. would be present, which is not present when the email comes from an authentic source. So that is the first thing that you need to pay attention to. The second is the picture quality. So almost all these hackers, what they do is they copy paste the standard template by downloading the images from the internet. And in that case, what happens is the moment you download these templates, the picture quality goes down in terms of the picture resolution, the color quality, and the blurriness. So out here, you can say this looks a very blurry image, which confirms that this is definitely not coming from the HDFC Bank. The third and the most important point that you need to be careful about is, because these attackers are very, very smart, they are not giving you the direct link. Instead, they are giving you a button behind which they have hidden the link. So before clicking the button, you can hover over this button, and on the left hand side here you can see what is the URL it is redirecting you to. So here you can see it is HTTPS, net banking, DF skank bank, RTF89F. Definitely not coming from HDFC Bank, right? Now, what happens if I click this button that is given? It has redirected me to a net banking URL. This also looks an authentic one, but if you will see very carefully in the HTTP net banking hdfcbank.com, this is not a B but a Russian symbolic character that is used, which looks very, very similar to B. So apart from this, rest everything looks good. So make sure you pay extra attention to the URL that it is redirecting to, and make sure you also make it a habit before clicking on any link, you read what is the URL it is redirecting you to. And if you think this is not authentic, this is not something that is sent by the original organization, please do not click on that. Okay, so phishing attacks are heavy, and now they are coming from everywhere, be it your professional spaces, professional media platforms like LinkedIn, or your personal social media platforms. So out here you can see there are a couple of examples that I've taken. What are the most popular forms of phishing attack that has happened recently. And one of the most popular one is people faking as a very attractive person online, and then they fake a relationship just to get the personal information out from the victim there. Now let's move ahead, and with that we have completed our two modules, which is email and online accounts and phishing attacks. I hope you found them useful. Let's move to the next module, which is social engineering. So it is very widely known in the cybersecurity industry that you can patch any technology, any infrastructure, but there is no patch to human stupidity or ignorance. And I think majority of the cyber attack that happens today are due to the ignorance only. Because I won't say people are stupid in general, rather they are lazy or not much active in terms of knowing the latest updates around cybersecurity, or enabling the basically following the best practices around cybersecurity. A very quick example that I want to cite here is most of us do not have two-factor, multi-factor authentication enabled on all of our accounts, because we think it will slow down, right? We'll put the credential, then we have to wait for the OTP. It's a tedious process, right? But there is a reason all these things are present, just to make sure that whatever you do online is always secure and nobody is trying to steal your information. So in my opinion, rather than stupidity, it is more on the ignorance side. To discuss the social engineering in detail, I have two case studies to discuss here. The first one is a very, very popular one that happened recently to this big organization, Twitter, wherein the organization got hacked and it literally brought the business to standstill. Okay, it was very, very difficult for their CTO Parag Agrawal and the entire security team, first of all, to identify what was the loophole that caused this attack. And now if we have to prevent accounts of the users from getting hacked, what we need to do, right? So it was a very chaotic situation for the security team to understand and basically mitigate the attack there. So what happened was the organization got hacked because one of their customer support executive was not smart enough to understand and identify the phishing attack that happened to him. As a result, a lot of Twitter accounts of celebrities, entrepreneurs, politicians tweeted what you can see on the screens. They have asked for bitcoins, and they said that because there's a COVID ongoing, we would like to give you the double the amount, things like that. And a lot of people, fell prey to that. Now, uh, uh, let us discuss one more example, which is, very popular. What happens nowadays is everybody has this obsession to have multiple followers, right? I'm sure you also, would love to have a lot of followers on your social media platform. So to achieve that, what most of the people do is, first of all, they make their accounts public, and then they are bombarding their accounts with a lot of personal information. And thanks to features like Facebook timeline, where anybody can go scroll up to, let's say, 2011, and can read about you, what you did, when was your breakup happened, when were you happy, what are your likes, dislikes, everything. And with that information, please try to understand how easy it becomes for an attacker to map what kind of personality you are. And then I have seen a lot of people, wondering, when they are attacked, they would be saying, I didn't know how this person could know so much about me, right? It is all from the social media information that you have already given over the internet, and that made the attack to specially craft an attacker to craft an attack for your interest. So it is because, only whatever you have shared so much is too much on the internet, which now you also don't remember sometimes. So in continuation of the same, I would like to discuss one of the recent attack that happened to Delhi CM's daughter Harshita over this online marketplace called OLX. So most of us are using OLX to, sell and buy stuff. So what happened there is, she was trying to sell a sofa, and when she finalized the deal, and please note that the deal, which she told about, was finalized instantly, which means the attacker shown an urgency to buy the sofa that she was trying to sell. So once the deal was finalized, the so-called buyer asked her to scan a code to transfer the amount in her account. At first, he transferred a small amount so that, he can have that credibility with with the user that I am a genuine buyer. In the second time, he sent her a QR code and asked her to scan so that he can transfer the rest of the amount. However, soon after, in two installments, 34,000 were debited from her account. What do you think went wrong here? Let me help you. First of all, the QR code that was sent to her was to request money, not to send, which she approved from her mobile device, right? And then only those two transactions were made by the attacker there. Also, it is very, very important to know that as a user, no matter what UPI you are using, be it Beam, be it your Paytm or whatnot, as a user, you do not need to explicitly approve to receive the money. It is only and only required when you are transferring the money. Okay. So let's talk about what are the preventive measures towards social engineering. The first one is to have the right security awareness training. Social engineering awareness lends itself to storytelling, and stories are much easier to understand and much more interesting than explanation of the technical flaws. So first of all, be very, very careful of what you share. Never share your personal details. A lot of time I have encountered people sharing their kids photograph that it is their first day in the school. I understand the excitement of the parents that that the kid is started to going to the school. But what they forget is in that picture they're also capturing the identity card of the kid, which has all the details of the kid, including what is the school name, the location, the class name, the blood group. And using these details, don't you think anybody could do something which could put your child in danger? So be very very cautious of what you share on internet, right? Use any and all privacy settings. Most of the time we don't know there are settings, especially if you're talking about parents and kids. So there is a parental control settings which most of the parents are not aware. So make sure you use them on your child's devices. Otherwise also there are a lot of privacy settings for your on your phone, your devices that you are using, and also for the online accounts that you have, like whether you want to keep your account as a public or private and things like that. Have a healthy dose of skepticism. This is very very famous in the cybersecurity industry. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Don't be a sucker. So if you think you are getting a very 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 good deal or some very lucrative offers, trust me, there could be a hacker behind that. Okay, trust but verify. Double check on all the email address for small typos. Make sure the URLs that you are being redirected to are legitimate by hovering over the hyperlinks. And if you happen to receive a lot of calls again from trusted organization which has some deals or some perks for you, make sure you check back with the organization before taking the next action there. And never share your passwords for financial data. So with that, we have completed all the three modules: email and online accounts, phishing attacks, and social engineering. I hope you have found them useful, and feel free to write your question in the chat box if you have any. Let me also quickly share a couple of security tips before concluding the session here. If it looks good, it probably is wrong. Make sure that you verify whatever you are getting, be it a call or an email or any message on your social media platform. Check the email address carefully. Now, this is very very important to identify whether it's a genuine domain, it's a genuine organization that is sending me the email, or is an attacker that knows me, knows my interest, understand what kind of personal I am, and then trying to trick me to share my personal information with him or her. Watch for impersonal introduction. So most of the time, because these attackers, what they do is they carry out these phishing attacks at a massive scale, which means they send the same email to a lot of people, and then they wait and sit for the people who fall prey to them. So what they do is they send you emails with a generic salutation like "Dear Sir," "Dear Ma'am," right? But whenever there is an organization which is sending you an email, most of the time what they prefer is to refer you with your first name. So if in my case, if I take an example, if my bank is addressing me for something, they'll write "Dear Gunjan" instead of a very generic notation which is "Dear Ma'am." So make sure you pay attention to all these small details in those emails. Be cautious about web links. Very 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 important, because the hackers are very smart nowadays. They'll not give you the direct URL that they want you to land to, but they will hide it behind a button which looks very very genuine, as we saw in the case of the email account example, wherein he has written over that button, know more about the transaction, just click this button, right? So make sure you hover your mouse over that, you read what is the URL, then you go back and you check that whether it is a legitimate URL that is used by this organization or not. If you think you're not convinced, please do not click on that. Okay, check for the redirection is HTTPS lock or not. So this is something that is used mostly by all the organization, wherein whenever you open a URL in your browser, you will see a green color small lock alongside the domain name of the organization. This basically tells you that the communication that you are doing is encrypted. So almost all the organization are using HTTPS there. So make sure you check for that little green lock there as well. But this is not something which is a very short confirmation that it is a genuine organization, because for hackers also it is not that difficult to get that green lock on their fake domain. So this is just a good to have check there. Last but not the least is to enable two-factor authentication. If you have not enabled it on your all your accounts, please do it right away, because this is very very important, as it adds an extra layer of security to the communication that you are doing. So in case if the attacker is able to get your email or your password, this 2FA would still help you from your account getting compromised. So make sure you enable two-factor authentication on all your accounts. And also, we nowadays get an option to have 2FA either by SMS or your voice calls. So another a recommendation from my side would be to enable the voice call authentications there. Why? Because what happens is, it is nowadays, again, because the hackers are very very smart, so it's easy for them to bypass the OTP text messages, right? But if you have enabled voice call authentication there, so it is good for you in that way also. Also, it is very very rare that you miss a voice call authentication as compared to missing an SMS OTP there. Another thing that I want to tell you here is, again, this is a good to have check. Most of the time, these attackers are advanced in terms of their technical knowledge, but what they do is that they send you the emails with some or a lot of grammatical mistakes. So most of the time you will find spelling errors, because they don't have a content checker team at the back end that is verifying that whether the content, the email body that is sent is correct or not. While in case of the organization, you always will find there is a team that does this on a regular basis, and the body does not have any grammatical mistakes there. So that is something you can watch for all the emails that you are that you receive. Now, this is what we wanted to basically cover in our basic level session today. And I'm very, very excited to tell you that we are also coming up with an intermediate level course, wherein you would be learn about a lot more things, uh, for a lot of other modules ranging from mobile security. So there you will be able to learn what are the best security configurations for your mobile device. How can you use your mobile device in a very secure manner, right? Similarly, very very good tips around your social media accounts, your Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. Okay, and then how can you use your laptops also in a secure manner? What are the right security configuration settings? How can you enable them? Okay, the sessions will have hands-on trainings with a couple of very very cool demos to showcase, and we'll also have a dedicated query resolution session with the expert trainer. In that intermediate session, we'll also have live simulation of a phishing attack to understand the concept end to end, wherein we'll show you what is the thinking that an attacker comes with before launching a phishing attack, how he applies his learnings in that attack that he crafts, and as a user, how he's able to basically uh, trick you, so that you can so that you end up sharing your information with the attacker through that phishing attack there. And all the participants will also be getting a certificate, and as a bonus, of course, there'll be an e-toolkit which will be free buy, which all the participants gonna get, wherein you will first of all get to know how secure you are as a user, and it has around 100 plus modules, all updated with the best cybersecurity practices there, so that you can learn and know more about what is ongoing in the online world and how can you stay safe there. Also, it will tell you how to keep your mobile device safe. And when I say it will tell you, it will do that in an automatic manner, right? It will assess your mobile phones on a daily basis. So every day you will be able to see, okay, was there any change in my mobile device settings or not? If there's a change, who did the change? What is the application doing? And what am I supposed to do that? So this program would be on Sunday, 7th of March, and it is open for all the people with age group 16 and above, and we'll have a fees of INR 299 for the participants. So I hope you like the basic session today, and I hope to see you in the intermediate level session also. So if you want to register it, you would be able to see a link in the chat box. So quickly go and register, and we'll learn more about in the intermediate level there. So thank you, everyone. I think we are open for Q&A now. Over to you, Anshika.
Thank you so much, Gunjan, for sharing your experience and in-depth knowledge on this subject. It was definitely a very insightful session, and there was so much to learn. So now I would like to request you all to use the chat box to raise your questions.